here's my piece that I'm going to put on the spine. It has to be the same width as, let's get the uncut side, what you're doing, exactly the same width. So it's good to mark it from this. And then I'm just going to cut it. See? And it's a really little piece. And it's not, it's chipboard, it's not bookboard, just because I find that works better. So that's going to go in the center there, like so. But we're not going to do that yet. We're going to mark where we're going to place these on the cloth. And like I said, the PVA is very unforgiving, so you want to make sure, and that's why I'm showing you how to do all these measurements, because you want to make sure they're exactly where you want them to be, or else it's just not going to be good. Let me tell you. I'm just warning you. So let's go over what we've done so far. We've marked the center, and we've seen how thick our text block is, and I've given it an extra 1/8 of an inch over how thick it is, and basically marked that on my paper here. So I've got my outer lines, so I'm going to erase my inner lines because they're just going to confuse the crap out of me. So, as you can see, I'm going to use my left hand because I'm casting shadows everywhere. I've got, this is where the spine is of the book, and that's where we're going to put this little piece. Okay, and then we're going to mark where these go. And remember how I said before that you want 1/4 inch above and 1/4 inch below, bigger, but not to worry about the width of the book covers? That's because when you do this, you actually want to give about 1/4 of an inch from the edge here of these to that. If you look at any hardcover book, and I have my example one, you can see here, I don't know if you can see because I'm casting shadows everywhere, this gap. I'm sure if you have any hardcover book ever, there's this gap here, and that's actually just book cloth holding it together. And that just allows the spine to expand a little more. It's especially important when we're doing our mixed media journals because it gives a little more room, so if your book does get thicker than the actual spine, then you have enough room for it to expand. And it just makes it so when you open the cover of a book, it's just that spot where you can open the cover. Usually books don't lie exactly flat, but these will. So we're going to measure 1/4 of an inch from each side, each edge of the line here, okay? So now we have a bunch of lines on here. We should have 4 lines, okay? You've got the 2 lines marking the outer edges of your text block. So as you can see, you lay the text block in there, and move back, and you can see that's the center line. See how it fits in there? Okay. And then I've done would it be 1/4 of an inch, and then I added an 1/8 of an inch. I don't know. It's like 1/4 of an inch and then 2 more notches. Okay, that's how far I went. I usually eyeball this, so it's kind of weird for me to measure from there. And that is where these are going to go. And that's going to give, and you're going to be like, oh my god, that's a huge gap. But when you fold it down with the thickness of your paper and the way that the text block is going to kind of expand, it's going to be perfect. I will not lead you astray. So we got those, and what I like to do, which is really kind of funny, I like to draw a line across this way to make sure that they're like this when you glue it, or else it's gonna like shift and you're gonna have one like that, and that's not cool. So we're just gonna do that, and I just kind of plop the ruler down and just go like that. Okay, so we're gonna put down things. Remember, this is the inside and this is the outside. You always want the outside to be like a smooth, even surface. And this, you can see, I tried to rip the paper off. It didn't really work. So we're just gonna get some PVA on our brush here, and glue it down. The thing I like about using this linen book cloth is it's a thicker, tougher grain, because if you, when we put this down like this, make sure it's even and on the line. There we go. And we're going to flip it over, and we're going to use our bone folder to do this. What will happen if you use too much PVA is it'll leak out and get all over this, and then you'll go over it again and it'll get on your book cloth. And if you're using the book cloth like I showed you, like this yellow that I have, this kind, the thinner kind, or the blue, it's going to stain the book cloth and it's not going to come out. It's like when you get glue on some of your clothes and it's just like a spot. It's not. So you don't want to get any on the book cloth. And like I can tell, like in here, it's not really sticking. So I'm just going to go under it like this. Then we're going to glue down the other one. So I'm going to glue in this piece, and I always make it a little bit shorter than the actual spine. Don't get any glue here or here. It's really important. You just want to get the glue where you're gluing things down, and the gap part you don't want to get glue, because if you get glue on it, it kind of defeats the purpose. So next, you're going to take this and fold it over. Alright, do that. You want to go across the top like this. Technically now we have our cover, see? Ta-da! Beautiful cover. We had a little mix up. So as you can see, there's a new board on here now. This is what it looks like on the other side. And what we need to do now is glue down, all we have to do is glue down the cover and glue in the text block. So we have our paper here, and what I usually like to do is get an edge that was like cut by the machine, but it looks like everything has been used. So we're just going to kind of jump in and cut it down. The only thing, you can have really uneven edges except for the one that's going to butt up against this, because you're going to see that line, and then you're going to fold it over here, fold it over here, and fold it over here. So the only one that has to be straight are these two here. I'll put this down on here, and I just kind of loosely mark. You know, you want that much hanging over on the edge, maybe like a 1/4 inch. You can kind of eyeball it. I mean, it's going to fold up and over like so. And you're not really going to see that edge once you put the text block in. So you want to give it enough so you can do that comfortably. Put this out for our cover. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it straight in half. Cut. One thing you want to do is, if you look, when I close the journal, this is pretty much lined up where this ends. So what you want to do is make sure that the paper hits the same edge. I measure from this edge. What we're going to do is we're going to start gluing from in out to the edge there. All right. You want to do this to make sure the paper is flat. Like I can already feel a couple bubbles. So I've gone through and I've put on both covers. There's the back and the front, or it could be other, but I think this is pretty much the front. And I've just like burnished along the way corners. So in order to do the corners, you need to go here about that far away and cut them diagonally. Hi, Drakey. I'm going to cut your mouth if you come over by the scissors like that. Okay, so I've cut the corners diagonally. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get some glue on our brush. I always like doing this edge first for some reason. And it's just kind of like the same way you did the cover. There we go.